Can Newcastle United spend whatever they want this summer window and simply just pay off a fine? Maybe, as if the reports are true today, there is talk around a new luxury tax that could be implemented as an alternative to the current FFP, PSR, financial fair play system. Yes guys, how's it going? Welcome back to a new video. It's been a while. So I've had a little bit of a walk outside. The weather's starting to get a little bit warmer, a little bit nicer. And I'm looking forward to what's hopefully going to be a good end to the season for Newcastle, European football, and what we're all looking at is a big summer window. It was also reported today that Newcastle are going to focus on 2 new centre-backs this summer window, with both Botman and Lascelles getting long-term injuries all over the shop. And after what has been a tough season where we played Champions League football and we're hopefully going to finish strong, the summer window is key. And that's what we're talking about is, can Newcastle go out and do what they want this summer? The talks are possibly not in terms of how much we have to spend, or we have to sell players first, or how sounds like players like Isaac and Bruno are being heavily wanted by other teams. We don't want to lose those players. We don't want to lose any of our top players. But then how do we spend? Well, I'll tell you what, scrap all of that. Let's get this new idea in, which is that teams can basically go out and spend what they want and pay a luxury tax as opposed to being fined in points. Now, for a Newcastle fan with billionaire owners, it doesn't sound too bad to me. It's fair to say that financial fair play, and there's loads to this, by the way. I could talk for 30 minutes, which I won't do, so I'll just try and cover some of the key points. But it's fair to say that FFP isn't working and hasn't been working, and I think really the only way for it to have worked would have been if everyone started on a level playing field. You know, from day one, the Manchester United, the global brand, Man City, the amount of revenue and deals they've got coming in compared to, you know, not even just the Premier League, not just Newcastle United or a Palace or a Forest or an Everton, who we'll come back to on points deductions in a second, but the lower league tiers, how are they ever meant to go up if they cannot create that revenue to get there in the first place? On the flip side, it was brought in to stop people from coming in to a derby or whoever, spending whatever the hell they want and then having no repercussion for it, or having no sanction to try and stop them from doing that. So it was brought in with reasons, but those reasons haven't worked. And I think at the minute, one of the glaring things, and I think the reason that well, 2 reasons, I think, is it just so happens that Man City, cough, cough, are about to be thought to be given a big point deduction, even maybe kicked out of the league, and then all of a sudden, luxury tax idea, you know, is that totally, is that just coincidence? Me thinks not. But at the same time, you've got the likes of an Everton and a Forest trying to go out, trying to spend money, trying to compete, and have been fined for it. Especially the Forest one, where basically they held off on selling. They could have sold Johnston for 10 million and avoided a point deduction, but instead waited, got 45 million or whatever it was. So massively beneficial to the club, was the right thing to do for the club, and then got fined for it. Yes, they knew the rules. Yes, they knew where their books had to be in. And yes, they knew when it had to be done. But it hasn't worked. And things just haven't worked. Now, I'm not going to sit here and say that this new luxury tax idea is going to be perfect, right? I think it's going to be tough to get it perfect. But as a Newcastle fan, for us, you know, what it will do is allow us to go and spend. And the thing is, if we went out and overspent this window, we went out and overspent, got in the players that we actually could bulk the squad up, so the players who will improve us, players who will bulk us, players to have a squad, we will no doubt have to pay some sort of fine, and where that fine goes, I'll come back to in a minute. But it means that next year we've potentially done better in the league, or the year after that we've been able to secure a better sponsor, and the year after that we've got Europe, and the year after that we've got Champions League, and it's not this. And by that point you're starting to regulate and bring in your own revenue, so you're not just relying on a billionaire owner who can look. It's up to the owners as to whether they would want to spend that much, you know, and whether they would push that far. The hope is, as a fan, yes, but it will take you to the next step. And you know, if a Palace or a Wolves or a team who wanted to maybe just push that boundary a little bit further, you know, you look at matchday revenues of teams like, I was looking at this again, it's all around the Newcastle stadium stuff. Spurs are bringing in, you know, like hundreds of millions of was it 100, 200 million, 100 million? It was in the hundreds of millions of match revenue. I think ours was like 30. So straight away, you know, there's the difference there is massive. That's how much extra they can go and spend. But we don't want this. Where's this tax going? Is it going to the top teams? I should think not. I think it should be going to the full football pyramid. If they can stretch this in a way to try and promote the spend from bigger sides to actually help benefit the lower teams with some fees and payments spread across the pyramid and tax and all the way down to... Will it get there? You know, you'd imagine not, because everything in the world doesn't quite work that way. But if they could set up a scheme like that, I think that would actually be beneficial, not just for the higher teams who want to go out and spend that little extra. Yeah, we've got to pay a fine. Okay, here's me on the dotted line. We have the money. We can afford the fine. And then it actually goes somewhere that's a little, which is worthy of it. As I've said, at the minute, you know, with the way the Premier League works, big players are going off to Saudi. Big players and are choosing to not come to the Premier League anymore. And once again, that's FFP. Big teams are unable to afford wages for the biggest players because they're being restricted by certain financial lines that they can't go out and do what they want to do. And that is encouraging players to go to Saudi Arabia, go to Spain, go to other places. And we are the Premier League is the best league in the world. You know, the money has gone crazy. But that's the way it is. And I think it's going to be a hell of a change to try and reverse it back. And as much as it sounds mental to be playing £1 million, well, not to us when we've got the billions, but £1 million contracts and all that kind of jazz, £1 million a week, they'll go to Saudi Arabia, they'll get somewhere else. You know, if we're not doing it, they're going somewhere else. And the Premier League don't want to lose out. The Premier League cannot continue to I went back to the stadiums. Football teams bringing in more and more corporate seats. Half the stadium's corporate because they need the money to go out and have a proven revenue stream to spend that money. You know, the fans are losing out too because our season tickets are going up. Corporate seats are getting put into standard seats. And that's all to bring more money in to help with FFP, to spend money. So they were put in for a reason. There was some fair reasons to it, but the full scheme of it just hasn't worked. And it's hurting the clubs. The players are going to other places. The fans are being hurt. The Premier League want to go and charge fans more money, or Sky, more money. Sky, BT, Amazon, more money. So what? So that we can watch a team who actually can't go full belt because they've not been able to spend the money? And we've got a product in the Premier League that's fining their teams because the system is corrupt and doesn't work, in my opinion. There's a lot going on, and it hasn't worked. For a Newcastle fan, this could well be, you know, the tick in the box that we need. Having said that, it happened at just the time where they're number one team in Man City, global team, the number one thing that people are looking for at Man City, are about to be told that, you know, actually, a lot of those titles that you had may well not have counted, and you could well be relegated down to the bottom of the football pyramid. Or pay a really big fine. You know, is it all coming in at the same time? Who knows? But you let me know your thoughts on that down below. How it can affect Newcastle. How you think it'll affect football, to be honest. Thanks for watching, guys. Nice to come out, get a bit of fresh air. And we will see what happens next. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you later.